So I wanted to do a video today about government. I often make comments on government activity in the Australian landscape, especially in the Australian social landscape where I don't believe the government belongs. But obviously we need a government, but I like one of the things that's happening in the world at the moment, especially in England where it's being trialled in some of the counties and boroughs over there, on a local government level, is replacing a sitting council with a website. And these websites are being run by retirees, like retired professionals, solicitors and bankers and accountants and carpenters and road engineers and all that sort of thing. And they're not paid for their services. They do it as a hobby and as a community good. And very simply, you log on with your tax file number, you check out the issues of the day that you can also contribute to. If you've got a pothole or whatever in your street, you can list it up there on the thing. And the way I understand it works is that you put forward your issue. It goes then to the committee who evaluates how much it's going to cost to sort it out and whether it's feasible, and then it gets voted on by the other people in the community. Mrs. Smith's got a pothole. We've got $500 in the budget for potholes. Let's fix Mrs. Smith's pothole. You know, very simple. I mean, that's true democracy. One person, one vote, and you get to actually see where your money goes and be a part of it. You know, you don't have somebody else in Canberra or wherever doing that for you. Now, I can see that working on a much larger scale, on a national scale, but I can't see it particularly working without representatives, because each state and territory is going to obviously still need representatives for the online party or the online system that's being used, because not everybody has a computer still, and not everybody likes to vote that way. So, but it will take a lot of the burden, I think, and a lot of the time dragging, chain dragging, you know, how long it takes to get anything done process out of Parliament, you know, out of government, which would be a bloody good thing, because everybody in this country knows how long it takes to change anything or get anything done. So, one of the other things that I wanted to address along those lines is I made a post about gay marriage, which is on my Dave Fair page. Probably, if this is on that page, you're watching it on this page, where I suggested that I would be quite happy to burn my marriage certificate if it would bring about equality, because really a marriage certificate is a license that you pay for to the government. Right now, in my eyes, I don't believe that an agreement of love between two people needs a marriage certificate that you pay the government for. It's not like an official legal contract. It's something that you hold in your heart sacred and hold to each other sacred for the rest of your lives. You know, a piece of paper from the government, an official license, isn't going to make that so. It's just going to make it taxable and usable for government process in some sort of ways, you know. And this is where I don't believe that the government should enter into matters of the heart, matters of social welfare or common welfare, the Commonwealth. You know, obviously, yes, things like laws and the justice system and the medical system to some degree, and education and all those sorts of things. But when it comes to love, you know, I remember, and this is a funny thing. I remember seeing I think it was the movie, God, what's the one, not Rob Roy, the other one, you know, Freedom, whatever his name was anyway, where they get married in an open field. You know, this Scottish clansman and his love get married under the sun in an open field, surrounded by the people in their village. There's no church, there's no nothing, there's no piece of paper. They wrap each other's wrists in a braided flower bangle thing, and they're done, you know, and everybody knows it, everybody witnesses it, and then they have to live together for the rest of their lives under the oaths and promises and vows that they made. It doesn't take a piece of paper, and if you look at the divorce rate, you'll see how ridiculous the idea that you would need a piece of paper is anyway. It's not worth the paper it's written on. Marriage is a bond. Marriage is something that two people enter into under the eyes of God, or under the eyes of universal consciousness, or under the eyes of the Creator, whatever you want to call that, to join together to begin a new stage in their lives collaboratively, wherein they teach and learn each other that they may raise up their consciousness together, right, through these moments that all married couples have, to relinquish their ego, right, to work together towards a more heavenly state on earth, serving not only their relationship, but the relationship of the greater good as a whole. And this is why I think and feel quite strongly that it's pointless the government having any say in it. And at one time, church and state were kept very separate. So I don't understand, one, the petition by the gay and lesbian community to petition the government in this way for this particular thing, and I don't understand why non-gay and lesbian people haven't stood up and railed their fists at the government to have bloody marriage certificates abolished. Sure, you can still have the ceremony in the church, you can still have everything else, but what the fuck is the use of that piece of paper? You can't wipe your ass with it, you know? Seriously. I've been married 10 years, and yes, I've got a marriage certificate, which at that time 10 years ago, and then, you know, people change, I thought was probably something that would be good to have it official, so that, you know, my daughter would grow up into a properly married couple. I thought that was something, and it took me a little while to realise that a properly married couple isn't something that is classified by a piece of paper. So, anyway, that's about it. I mean, I've got a few things going on at the moment. There's the little Hemi Goodwin case also, which is a case of massive failure on the behalf of the legal system to represent the greater good and represent the interests of the tax-paying citizens who are the shareholders in the greater good. And I might do a video on that later, but you'll find that post on my wall as well. So please share these posts and things if you find them interesting, if you think that I've got a valid point, if you think I'm full of shit. I mean, you know, keep your opinion to yourself maybe, but if you can put it politely, then, you know, I'm open to conversation and debate and everything like that. I don't mind that at all. But I mean, have a good read. You know, people tend to read things with their beer goggles on, and people tend to read things with their vote yes or vote no glasses on and all that sort of thing. So if you do already have a structured general opinion on things, it's very likely and almost impossible that you don't read my comments, or comments of other people for that matter, with that kind of biased view, whether you're aware of it or not. But that's just actually how people function. We buy a Volvo, we tend to see Volvos everywhere, you know. So anyway, I love you all, and it's just good conversation, I think, and it's good to keep people's minds popping and opening, and keeping an interest in the community at large, and in what's in our own greater good, you know. So remember, we are the government. It's not a bunch of blokes in Parliament. If we don't help these people that represent us in Parliament understand that what we want is not what they're presenting to us, then who have we got to blame but ourselves, you know? I truly believe that you've got to work with the people that you represent, you know, that you ask to represent you. You can't just ask some bloke, you should run for Parliament, mate, and represent us because you got your finger on the pulse, and then sit back and let them do all the work. You know, you've got to continue to take a bit of an interest and make sure that things are guided and helped along, and to be useful if you can be. You know, so all right. Well, it's everybody's responsibility, isn't it? You know, we all pay taxes, and we should all have an interest in how those dollars are spent. All right, I love you, and take it easy.